not easy being Mrs. Santa Claus. Who is always doing chores? Who does sewing and restores that old tacky crimson suit with worn-out furs? For a century, each year I've been letting out the rear to accommodate the bulge that now occurs. Since my absent-minded spouse lets the reindeer in the house through that broken door the elf forgot to fix. Muddy hooves? There's quite a few if you're counting. 32. Unless Rudolph shows, and then there's 36. And speaking of those elves, they do not behave themselves. All their noise while making toys compounds my woes. I am always mending frocks and forever darning socks that they puncture with those awful pointy toes. Since the nearest grocery store is 1,000 miles or more, all I ever get to eat is frozen dinner. Although Santa thinks it's fine when he sneaks a glass of wine, that's why he gets fat, and I keep getting thinner. Santa Claus is too darn jolly, and I think he's off his trolley when his cheerfulness becomes a bit extreme. I attempt a conversation, but it ends with my frustration. If I hear another ho, 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 I'll scream. Santa, on this Christmas Eve, I'll mount up with you and leave, because Anna Claus deserves some holidays. Tell those elves that you've released her and she won't be back till Easter. Even later if they don't amend their ways. You get all the world's applause. Rightly so. You're Santa Claus. Every child appreciates the good you do. Good is good. While I agree, save a little good for me. And you'd better if you know what's good for you.
Oh, but he was a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone, Scrooge. A wrenching, squeezing, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinner. Hard and sharp as flint from which no steel ever struck out generous fire. Secret, and self-contained, and solitary as an oyster. The cold within him froze his old features, nipped his pointed nose, shriveled his cheek, stiffened his gait, made his eyes red, his thin lips blue, and spoke out shrewdly in his grating voice. He carried his own low temperature always about with him. He iced his office in the dog days and didn't thaw it 1 degree at Christmas. External heat and cold had little influence on Scrooge. No warmth could warm, no wintry weather chill him. No wind that blew was bitterer than he. The heaviest rain and snow and hail and sleet could boast of the advantage over him in only one respect. They often came down handsomely, and Scrooge never did. Once upon a time, of all the good days of the year, on Christmas Eve, old Scrooge sat busy in his counting house. Merry Christmas, Uncle! God save you!
Bah, humbug.
Christmas a humbug. You don't mean that, Uncle, I'm sure.
I do. Merry Christmas. What's Christmas time to you but a time for paying bills without money? A time for finding yourself an hour older, or a year older, but not an hour richer. A time for balancing your books and having every item in through a round dozen of months presented dead against you. If I could work my will, every idiot that that goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled with his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart.
Uncle?
Nephew, keep Christmas in your own way and let me keep it in mine.
Well, keep it, but you don't keep it.
Let me leave it alone. Much good may it do you. Much good has it ever done you.
There are many things by which I might have derived good, from which I have not profited. Christmas, I dare say, among the rest. But I have always thought of Christmas, when it has come round, as a good time. A kind, forgiving, charitable, pleasant time. The one time in the long calendar of the year at which men and women, seemingly by one consent, open their shut-up hearts freely. And therefore, Uncle, though it has never put a scrap of gold or silver in my pocket, I believe it has done me good, and will do me good. And I say, God bless it.
Ah, humbug.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You really are a heel. You're as cuddly as a cactus. You're as charming as an eel, Mr. Grinch. You're a bad banana with a greasy black peel. You're a monster, Mr. Grinch. Your heart's an empty hole. Your brain is full of spiders. You've got garlic in your soul, Mr. Grinch. I wouldn't touch you with a 39.5-foot pole. You're a vile one, Mr. Grinch. You have termites in your smile. You have all the tender sweetness of a seasick crocodile, Mr. Grinch. Given the choice between the two of you, I'd take the seasick crocodile. You're a foul one, Mr. Grinch. You're a nasty, wasty skunk. Your heart is full of unwashed socks. Your soul is full of gunk, Mr. Grinch. The three words that describe you best are as follows, and I quote, stink, stank, stunk. It was 15:15 dawn. All the who's still abed. All the who's still a snooze when he packed up his sled. Packed it up with their presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tags and the tinsel, the trimmings, the trappings. 10,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet he rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it. Pooh-pooh to the who's, he was grinchishly humming. They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two, and then the who's down in Whoville will all cry, boo-hoo. That's a noise, grinned the Grinch, that I simply must hear. And he paused, and the Grinch put a hand to his ear. And he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It sounded low, then it started to grow. But this sound wasn't sad. Why, this sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry, very. Every who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, were singing, without any Christmas at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without presents. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours, till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, didn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. And what happened then? Well, in Whoville, they say, the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light, and he brought back the toys and the food for the feast. And he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast.
I ain't much good at praying, and you may not know me, Lord. I ain't much seen in churches where they preach thy holy word. But you may have observed me out here on the lonely plain, looking after cattle, feeling thankful when it rains, admiring thy handiwork, the miracle of grass, aware of that kind spirit, in the way it comes to pass that hired men on horseback and the livestock we tend can look up at the stars at night and know we've got a friend. So here's old Christmas coming on, reminding us again of him who's come and brought goodwill into the hearts of men. Now, cowboy ain't no preacher, Lord, but if you'll hear my prayer, I'll ask as good as we've got for all men everywhere. Please don't let no hearts be bitter, Lord. Don't let no child be cold. Make easy beds for them that's sick and them that's weak and old. Let kindness bless the trail we ride, no matter what we're after. And sort of keep us on your side in tears as well as laughter. I seen old cows a starving. It ain't no happy sight. Please don't let no one be hungry, Lord, on thy good Christmas night. No man, no child, no woman, and no critter on 4 feet. I'll aim to do my best to help you find them chuck to eat. I'm just a sinful cowpoke, Lord. I ain't got no business praying. But still, I hope you'll catch a word or two of what I'm saying. We speak of Merry Christmas. Lord, I reckon you'll agree there ain't no Merry Christmas for nobody that ain't free. So one more thing I'll ask you, Lord. Just help us where you can to keep some seeds of freedom for the future sons of man.
You know the story of Rodolfo the Ranger, no? The one where the nose is so bright, you got it a Santa Claus' sleigh all the way through the snow and died. Well, in Italia, we don't got no snow. We got a lot of hills.
And Cosa Nostra. The Mafia! And I am telling you this, not even a Santa Claus does business in Sicily without the Donna Vicenza gets his piece. Tributes! Capiche?
So, when the Santa Claus comes to Sicily, he don't bring no Rodolfo the Red Nose.
He don't?
No! He goes with the donkey! Luigi, perché dissi queste stronzate? Non sei Santa Claus? Mamma, siete te! Gli bambini! Pronto, Giovanni?
Pronto! Chingity ching. It's Dominic the donkey. Chingity ching. The Italian Christmas donkey. La 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 la. La 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 la. Santa's got a little friend, his name is Dominic. The cutest little donkey, you never seen him kick. When Santa visits his place on the Dominic will be, because the reindeer cannot climb the hills of Italy. Hey, chingity ching, it's Dominic the donkey. Chingity ching, the Italian Christmas donkey. La 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 la. Jingle bells around his feet and presents on his sled. Here's up the bear's derby on top of Dominic's head. A pair of shoes for Louis and a dress for Josephine. The label on the inside says it's made in Brooklyn. Hey, chingity ching, it's Dominic the donkey. Chingity ching, the Italian Christmas donkey. La 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 la. Children sing and clap their hands when Dominic starts to dance. They talk Italian to him and he even understands. Comares and Campari to the dance of Tarantelle. When Santa Nicola comes to town, it brings the true Charette. Hey, chingity ching, it's Dominic the donkey. Chingity ching, the Italian Christmas donkey. La 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 la. Hey, Dominic! Buon Natale!
In Baltimore, there lived a boy. He wasn't anybody's joy. Although his name was Jabez Dawes, his character was full of flaws. In school, he never led his classes. He hid old ladies' reading glasses. His mouth was open when he chewed, and elbows to the table glued. He stole the milk of hungry kittens, and walked through doors marked no admittance. He said he acted thus because
there isn't any Santa Claus.
Another trick that tickled Jabez was crying at little babies.
He brushes his teeth
They said in town.
sideways instead of up and down.
Yet people pardoned every sin and viewed his antics with a grin, till they were told by Jabez Dawes,
there isn't any Santa Claus.
deploring how he did behave. His parents swiftly sought their grave. They hurried through the portals early, and Jabez left the funeral early. Like whooping cough from child to child, he sped to spread the rumor wild.
As sure as my name is Jabez Dawes, there isn't any Santa Claus.
Slunk like a weasel or a marten, through nursery and kindergarten, whispering low to every tot.
There isn't any. No, there's not.
The children wept all Christmas Eve, and Jabez chortled up his sleeve. No infant dared hang up his stocking for fear of Jabez's ribald mocking. He sprawled on his untidy bed, fresh malice dancing in his head, when presently with scalp a-tingling, Jabez heard a distant jingling. He heard the crunching sleigh and hoof, crispy alighting on the roof. What good to rise and bar the door? A shower of soot was on the floor. What was beheld by Jabez Dawes? The fireplace full of Santa Claus. Then Jabez fell upon his knees with cries of
Don't!
and
Pretty please!
he howled.
I don't know where you read it, but anyhow, I never said it.
Jabez,
Replied the angry saint.
it isn't you, it isn't I, it's you that ain't. Although there is a Santa Claus, there isn't any Jabez Dawes.
Said Jabez then with impudent vim.
Yes, there is, and I am him. Your magic don't scare me, it doesn't.
And suddenly, he found he wasn't. From grimy feet to grimy blocks, Jabez became a jack-in-the-box. An ugly toy with spring unsprung, forever sticking out his ugly tongue. The neighbors heard his mournful squeal. They searched for him, but not with zeal. No trace was found of Jabez Dawes, which led to thunderous and people drank a loving cup and went and hung their stockings up. All you who sneer at Santa Claus, beware the fate of Jabez Dawes, the saucy boy who mocked the saint. Donner and Blitzen licked off the paint.
Good King Wenceslas looked down on the feast of Stephen, when the snow lay round about, even crisp and even. Brightly shone the moon that night, though the frost was cruel. When a home and came in sight, gathering winter fuel.
Hither, patient, sit by me, if thou knowest telling. Yonder peasant, who is he? Where and what's his dwelling?
My name is Goodly Hens, underneath the mountain, right against the forest fence, blessing on the fountain.
Bring me flesh and bring me wine, bring me pine logs heaven. Thou and I shall see him dine
shall find the winter's rain freeze thy bloodless coldly. It is best to step he trod where the snow lay tinted. He was in the very sod which was safe and printed. Therefore Christian men be sure, wealth and great possessing, King down the west of war, shall yourselves find blessing.
Oh, whose woods these are? I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse, I was thinking queer to stop without a farmhouse near. Between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year, he gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there's some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. Now, the woods are lovely, dark and deep. But I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep. Miles to go before I sleep.
Said the night wind to the little lad,
fir grew in the midst of the wood, contented and happy, as young trees should. His body was straight, and his bough was clean. In summer and winter, the bountiful sheen of his needles bedecked him from tap to root in a beautiful all-year evergreen suit. But a trouble came into his heart one day when he saw that the other trees were gay in the wonderful raiment that summer weaves of manifold shapes and kinds of leaves. He looked at his needles so stiff and small and thought that his dress was the poorest of all. Then jealousy clouded the little tree's mind, and he said to himself,
"It was not very kind to give such an ugly old dress to a tree. If the fairies of the forest would only ask me, I'd tell them how I'd like to be dressed, in a garment of gold to bedazzle the rest."
So he fell asleep, but his dreams were bad. When he woke in the morning, his heart was glad. For every leaf that his boughs could hold was made of the brightest beaten gold. I tell you, children, the tree was proud. He was something above the common crowd, and he tinkled his leaves as if he would say to a peddler who happened to pass that way,
"Just look at me. Don't you think I am fine? And wouldn't you like a dress such as mine?"
Oh, yes.
said the man.
And I guess I must have my pack filled with your beautiful dress.
So we picked the golden leaves with care and left the little tree shivering there.
"Oh, why did I wish for golden leaves?"
The fir tree said.
"I forgot that thieves would be sure to rob me in passing by. If the fairies would only give me another try, I'd wish for something that cost much less and be satisfied with less for my dress."
And he fell asleep, and just as before, the fairies granted his wish once more. When the night was gone and the sun rose clear, the tree was a crystal chandelier. And it seemed, as he stood in the morning light, that his branches were covered with jewels bright.
"Aha!"
said the tree,
"Now this is something great."
and he held himself up very proud and straight. But a rude young wind through the forest dashed, and a reckless temper and quickening smash the delicate leaves with a clashing sound. They broke into pieces and fell on the ground like a silvery, shimmering shower of hail, and the tree stood naked and bare to the gale. Then his heart was sad, and he cried,
"Alas, for my beautiful leaves of shining glass! Perhaps I have made another mistake in wishing for a dress so easy to break. If the fairies would only hear me again, I'd wish for something both pretty and plain. It wouldn't cost much to grant my request. In leaves of green lettuce I'd like to be dressed."
By this time, the fairies were laughing. I know. But they gave him his wish in a second. And so, with leaves of green lettuce all tender and sweet, the tree was arrayed from his head to his feet.
"Aha! I was sure I could find the sort of suit that would be to my mind. There's none of the trees has a prettier dress, and none as attractive as I am, I guess."
But a goat, who was taking an afternoon walk, by chance overheard the fir trees talk, so he came up close for a nearer view.
"My salad!"
He pleaded.
"I think so too. You're the most attractive tree, and I want your leave for my 5 o'clock tea."
So he ate them all, without saying grace, and walked away with a grin. While the little tree stood in the twilight dim, with never a leaf on a single limb, then he sighed and groaned, but his voice was weak. He was so ashamed that he could not speak. He knew at last that he had been a fool, think of breaking the forest rule. in choosing a dress himself to please, because he envied the other trees. But it couldn't be helped. It was now too late. He must make up his mind to a leafless fate. So he let himself sink into a slumber deep, but he moaned and he tossed in his troubled sleep. Till the morning touched him with joyful beam, and he woke to find it was all a dream. For there in his evergreen dress he stood, a pointed fir in the midst of the wood. His branches were sweet with the balsam smell, his needles were green when the white snow fell, and always contented and happy was he.
The very best kind of Christmas tree.
Each room with ivy leaves is dressed, and every post with holly.
Though some churls at our mirth repine, round your forehead garlands twine, drown sorrow in a cup of wine,
And let us all be merry.
Now all our neighbors' chimneys smoke, and Christmas blocks are burning. Their ovens they with baked meats choke, and all their spits are turning.
Without the door, let sorrow lie. And if we're called and have to die, we'll bury it in a Christmas pie.
And evermore be merry.
Rank misers now do sparing shun their halls with music sounded, and dogs hence with whole shoulders run. And so all things abounded.
The country folks themselves advance, for crowdy muttons come out of France, and Jack shall pipe and Jill shall dance,
And
all the town be merry.
Hark how the wags abroad do call each other forth to rambling. Anon, you'll see them in the hall for nuts and apple scrambling.
Hark how the rooms would laugh this town. Anon they'll think the house goes round, for they the cellar's depths have found.
And there they will be merry.
Now kings and queens wore sheepcoats have and mate with everybody. The honest now may play the knave, and wise men play at naughty.
Some youths will now among and go, while others play at rolling toe.
And 20 other gay boys go.
Because they will be merry. Then wherefore, in these merry days, should we I pray be duller?
No! Let us sing some roundelays and make our mirth the fuller.
And whilst we thus inspire sing, let all the streets with echoes ring.
Woods and hills and everything!
Bear witness, we are merry!
gentlemen, there will now be a 15-minute intermission. There are cookies and wonderful things downstairs for you to enjoy. Thank you, and we'll see you in a little bit.